What's up? This is G Money from the podcast. The mics are open. And for the last few weeks, we've been speaking about financial planning and how to track your money and how to make sure that you stay on top of all of your bills and stuff. So we're going to speak about money some more today. And I've got my usual suspects plus a special guest.
Yeah, Andy Young.
Calvin.
Gwen Kinison.
So Gwen is from Prudential Insurance, and I thought I'd invite her in so that we can speak a bit more about financial planning and how to get your finances right. So welcome to the, is it a podcast or a vlogcast?
Show.
Both
show.
of them, all of them.
All of them.
All of them.
Thank you.
Financial.
Thank you
I've
very
been trying to
much.
school these guys in financial planning. Like they said to me that they were honest about their finances, but then they realized they didn't know exactly what was going on in their finances. Why is financial planning important?
So did you guys get schooled?
Oh yeah.
Well,
a whole lot.
we're still trying to understand the part where we have to note everything down in terms of how much fuel you saved, how much parking you paid. Note down everything that you're spending on.
Yeah.
Which at first, for the last couple of weeks, it's been a bit tricky. Forgetting everywhere you've been, but somehow we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, because you talked about honesty. Like, just be honest with yourself. How much do you earn? How much do you spend? So that you know your limits, you know how to draw the lines. And then after that, it's about tracking how you're spending, how you're saving, what's coming in, what's going out. So it's a process. So that's where we were at.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just
Interesting.
yeah.
I'm trying.
Good teacher.
I'm trying.
Like class.
Good teacher's job. Great. Your question is, why is it important
Why
to
is-
do financial
why is it
planning?
important?
Okay, I think the important thing for everyone, whether you're young or whether you're old, is to realize that it's a journey. Yeah, we're all on a journey. So I don't think anyone has really figured it out. But it's creating habits that then actually give you results, right? We spend a lot of our time and a lot of our, can I say, investment of time in things that we want to be good at. Yeah. So your parents decide that you should go to school, and they do the best they can to ensure that you go to the best school. And then when you're done with school, then now it depends on ability and intelligence and all those things coming together. So you end up in college or not, but then you eventually end up working, whether you're running your own business or not. So somebody has planned for that, isn't it? Yeah, someone planned for it.
Yeah.
So it's actually been a series of steps that have gotten you to the point where you have options. So we spend, and our parents, everybody spends a lot of money on this staircase. But then with some other things like money, we don't.
Right.
And so maybe it's just putting structure to it,
Right.
and saying, exactly like what you said, I spend this much and there's a limit. I need to earn, I need to do all these things. Actually, in Prudential, we really believe in financial literacy. We've got a program for kids between the ages of 7 to 12.
Really?
And we teach them from a very early age that you must learn how you earn, you must figure out how you spend, how you save, and how you donate. And we treat those as the principal pillars of financial planning for kids that age, because then you don't want to get too complex. But it's exactly what you said. So that we become awake to the reality that money doesn't grow on trees.
Right.
Yeah?
It doesn't.
You've got to earn it. And then once you earn it, what do you do with it? Do you give out all of it?
Some of us do, but we used to.
Which is fine. But there's a place for donation, and there's a place for saving, and there's a place for spending. So, yeah.
So what's been the uptake for children? Because if I think about myself, saving was a foreign concept. Because when you're growing up, you get this amount of money for something that you've done, and you spend it all on buying friends candy. Well, there was this whole Jumbo Junior thing where we had the piggy bank and all of that. But when things were hard, we found a way to open it, and savings really, it's not.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
When things got hard,
Yeah.
you bust open the piggy bank.
boom.
So when you bust open the piggy bank and things got hard, what happened to the money that was inside it? You spent it.
Yeah, spend it, of course.
Which means
Yeah,
that you probably weren't prepared for when things went bad.
yeah.
Interesting. So the interesting thing is that you were a kid and you opened your piggy bank. A lot of moms opened those piggy banks and used the money they were saving for their kids. Yeah.
Imagine that.
And so, to your point, is that the best way? Yeah. Is it the best way? Essentially, what you did was insure yourself right there. You've been saving for a bad day, and then you went and took out that money and used it for a bad day, but then you are left with nothing.
Yes.
And from an insurance perspective, I really like that example, because that's, I think, simplified. That's what insurance should do for you. It should be there for you during a bad day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we then go on to define what those bad days are.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's important for people to know what that definition is. So is a bad day sickness? Is a bad day death? Is a bad day loss of a job? What is that bad day? And then take insurance to ensure that when you earn, you don't mix up, when you save, you don't mix up your savings and your bad day.
Right.
Right? Because what we do today is we combine them. And if somebody asks you, do you have an, even for those guys who have insurance policies, if you ask them today, how much of it is savings and how much of it is risk, what you're calling a bad day?
Yes.
Most people don't know. Yeah. So it's really to be intentional about saying, you know what, I have saved up to my 1 million bob. Now I need to get risk cover for 1 million bob, so that I don't lose out on this 1 million when that bad day comes. Because you'll use all of it. You need to protect your
wealth.
protect your wealth. Yeah.
But,
Interesting.
Okay, I'll be honest.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We think some things come with age. For example, as I'm growing up, there is no way I'm thinking about insurance. No way. Yes, I might have a piggy bank, but I know maybe tomorrow I want to buy a sweet or I want to buy some fries. Trust me, I'm going to crack the thing open. You know, come to school. There is no way I'm thinking of saving money. My parents are paying my school fees. I'm being fed. I have a place where I can sleep. High school, same thing. Come to university, things change. Guys are saving for the weekend.
Right.
Yeah, like, yo, I want to go out. I want to buy an outfit. No one is thinking of insurance. No one is thinking, or maybe, I don't know, maybe I can buy, or maybe I can get life insurance. Maybe I can get an education insurance, something like that. So is this something that we are getting wrong? Because when we look into the future, we don't really want to see that, but we want to live in the moment. I want to use my money for this, like instant gratitude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking me that question as if I'm a shosho. But, and look, it's a valid point. We've all been young. We've all been there. You know, where you think, mortgage? I'm too young. I'm too young for a mortgage. I'll wait for my turn. You think getting, what else? What else is so far-fetched for you right now? Pension savings?
Pension.
Yeah, pension looks like this far-away thing. When you think of pension, you think of G with white, with white beards, right? And the thing is this, the interesting thing is that when you look, this is how I like to think about it, that when I think I'm not good at something, I go back and learn about it, right? So for me to be where I am in my career, I've had to go to school, I have had to get mentors, I've been very lucky to have some really good bosses who then advanced me, and I thank them for that. But there's been a lot of investment in getting me to where I am today. So then let's flip the coin and let's think about people who have become very wealthy as a result of hard work. Let's not think about the ones who it's not because of hard work. The ones who, as a result of hard work, they are very wealthy. And then let's flip the coin again and let's look outside of our space, because you might be very wealthy in Kenya shillings, but then when you're compared to people who are truly wealthy globally, and then there is a change in currency, you're not wealthy anymore. So I want us to look at those guys who are globally wealthy. And what I have learned is that most of these guys actually used insurance from a very early age. Okay? Yeah? If you look at the wealthiest people in the world, yesterday I'm reading a certain book and it referred to Magic Johnson. So I went to Wikipedia and I read his story. And I'd really recommend you read his story. It's very interesting.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
So he was
Lakers,
from LA Lakers. So, and I don't follow sports, so this is new territory for me. So forgive me if I get something wrong. But I was reading about how he started as a basketball player, and then of course he made a lot of money. Then he coached at some point, and then when he declared his HIV status, I think he had to resign. But he identified at some point, apparently when he was younger, he had to move to a white school.
Right.
But he said as a result, it taught him how to speak to them and how to communicate with white people. Now, flip that. A lot of people will say, I don't like this space, it's uncomfortable. So because it's uncomfortable, you don't grow, right? So he grew out of that experience. Fast forward to when he's having all these challenges, he decides he's going to learn from one of the owners of LA Lakers.
Right.
Okay? And this guy was a serious businessman. So he taught him about business, and he told him the first thing you're going to do is you're going to start reading business magazines. So he started reading business magazines, and he started just soaking up anything to help him become a businessman, because he had identified that a lot of athletes were not savvy business-wise.
Financially, right.
Financially, right? So as a result, he ended up investing in a lot of stuff. If you read about his net worth, it's in the billions of dollars. I think I read something like $300 billion or something like that. But he has a business which is doing very well, and it's invested in sports. It's invested in restaurants. He was actually very involved
Even
in
cinemas as well.
cinemas, it's Starbucks.
Right.
But the one that shocked me is he has become a majority shareholder in a life insurance company.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
quite something.
Yeah. So I was surprised, because I'm like, what do these people see that I would speak to a younger Gwen and say, you know what, Gwen, these are some of the things that wealthy people do. I'm not wealthy,
Right.
so I want to learn from them. Yeah. I want to learn how to make sure that in my retirement, I won't be calling my son and telling him to bring me medicine or to bring me food. I want to be able to take care of my costs. So what are those things I need to do? I need to figure out where truly wealthy people, where they put their money. And what I've learned in my period of study and in my period of experience is that investing in insurance is one of those things. It's not the only thing, but it's one of those things. Because that way, you end up protecting what you're working so hard to build. Yeah.
So you can go out there and make all this money
Yeah.
and lose all this money. Could be health, it could
Yeah.
be whatever it is.
Yes. Yes.
So you see, part of the steps of financial planning, first of all, you're honest about where you are. Second, you begin to track your money and know your budgets. But then when you start to see that reserve of that money you used to waste become something, now you have to begin to think about protecting your wealth.
Yeah.
And as Gwen says, I don't think anybody is too young to start thinking about protecting your wealth, because
Yeah.
anything can happen. And
Yeah.
let's not confuse it. Like people confuse health insurance with life insurance. Two very different products.
Yeah. The other thing maybe I can add is that the advantage of there's an advantage you have over me, who's a shosho, which is that when you get into insurance now, it's going to be so much cheaper than what I pay for because of your age, because you are less risk. So because you have a long time to save or a long time to cover your risk, the amount of premium you pay is significantly less than mine. Yeah. So that's why you should start now.
The earlier the better.
Yeah, the earlier the better. Yeah.
100%. There you go. I can't say it better than that. That's why Gwen is here to tell us all about that. So you work for Prudential.
I do.
And tell us a bit about Prudential.
Okay. So Prudential, thank you. Prudential is a life insurance company in Kenya with origins from the UK. Prudential was set up in 1848.
And they're still here. So
Ages
you're,
ago.
you're safe. You're safe hands.
Ages ago, yeah. So I think even for me as an employee of Prudential, one of the things that strikes me is that if a company has been in existence for that long, there's something they know. Yeah. So even for me, as someone who's looking at financial stability, I want to put my money in Prudential, because if you've been there for 170 years, then it means tomorrow you're not going to go down and disappear with my cash. Yeah, hard earned cash. You're not going to go belly up and disappear with it. Yeah.
It's through the test of time.
It
Recessions,
has.
war, everything.
Yeah, 2 wars
And then you see
actually.
their faces. Their faces like they're just taking in all of this knowledge for real. For real.
Yeah.
Well, Gwen, thank you very much for
Thank
taking
you.
time out of your busy day.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
And I hope that you guys understand now the importance of this financial planning.
Yeah, financial planning, yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Great. Thank you.